Hello, Rachel.
Hello, Ryan.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Oh, baby, I am feeling like I've gone through an awakening, a religious awakening. Oh, yes. A good friend of mine stole my home and flew it off into space to use it for some meaning, for like some higher purpose that I just don't understand yet. And so, and he doesn't have a hat, this friend. They used to, and they weren't my friend then, but now they're my friend because they have a mohawk. How are you doing overall?
Confused.
Why?
Because you referred to it as your home, not our home?
It's the Lord's home. But in all seriousness, we are yumyumpod, the only podcast in the entire known universe to have yum yum energy, and we are called this because of not just any line. I was just going to say, because of a line. No. Because of a monumental line, an iconic line, a line that has formed religions. Yum Yum was said in Star Trek Discovery, a series that we have gone over before, and it was a very out-of-nowhere line, and we find it very amusing, so we like to remind everyone that this happened and that this was the state of modern screenwriting at the time,
you do this
and
like
nothing has
episode,
changed.
And you still manage to make me cringe with something that you decide to say.
And you married me, Rachel, because we're a husband and wife team reviewing episodes of science fiction television, and we are going over The Expanse.
Yes, we are a couple of episodes in to season 2. Ryan is going to read the description.
Oh, yes. Now, we have the IMDb description available. We are watching The Expanse for the first time through and doing so on the Blu-ray set, but the Blu-rays don't come with
they don't
a
have
booklet.
A little booklet.
That's the thing I've never liked about Blu-rays. Some people have asked me, because we have a fairly large DVD collection, and Blu-rays are there, but not as much. There's a very minuscule amount of Blu-rays. And why is that the case? Because a lot of DVDs have great special features and booklets and just so much stuff that Blu-rays rarely, if ever, have. But we have the Blu-ray set for The Expanse, and it does not give us a description. But
also,
IMDb
it doesn't give us all of the seasons.
No, it doesn't. It only gives us the first 3 because, well, it moved to Amazon. Now, we are talking about episode 4 of season 2, Godspeed. Miller devises a dangerous plan to eradicate what's left of the proto-molecule on Eros. Ooh, sweet, simple, to the point. I like it. Now, we are Yum Yum Podcast, and Yum Yum happened in Discovery, and that line was not just out of nowhere. It was also sexual in nature. It was very sexual and weird, and it gets us a little bit sweaty, a little bit hot under the collar, makes you want to unbuckle your belt a bit because something's bursting from those trousers. And what in Godspeed made you feel yum yum? What made you lick your lips and go, yum yum?
I'm assuming that you want my non-Amos pick first.
He had nothing to do in this. Actually, can I give you my Amos pick?
Yeah.
It's when he not only said bombs away, but he had to clarify why he said bombs away, because he's always wanted to. And that wasn't sexy, but I found it cute, and that's a different type of sexiness from Amos. We don't get a lot of cute Amos, like genuinely cute in a ironic sense a lot of the time, but this was cute. What is your yum yum thing in Godspeed, both Amos and normal? What are your yum yums?
My yum yums. Okay, so my general pick for the yum yum moment for Godspeed.
God damn it. God damn it. She said God too many times. Now we're damned to hell.
Hey, what's going on? Are you involved in this? Why are all of our people being taken off to Nauvoo?
Oh, the union. You can't argue with the union. That's the standard safety protocol, right? You don't want a big radiation leak out on your trip to the big unknown, do you?
Though I don't think you'll necessarily agree with it, but Miller saying multiple times, get laid.
Oh, yes, I see. I actually have a real struggle with Godspeed. I didn't find this episode to have
It's
anything
not very sexy.
particularly sexy. I guess we've got Miller. He was probably the sexiest thing here. He had that when he got his gun back. That was pretty sexy, and he was stroking it and giving it a look of, yeah, Daddy's got his gun back, and that was probably the most raw energy in that variety. But I was drawing blanks for this, honestly. Other than just
The macho-ness between Miller and Holden.
yeah, but then
in
it's
the
but
office.
Holden's on one side of that, you know, and I find him inherently a sex void outside of when he has sex.
Yeah.
So
Fair.
Amos, what's your Amos pick? Your annual Amos pick?
No,
Yes,
it's more frequent than annual.
yes, but I think this is something we said before.
And like you said,
your
it was-
automatic Amos pick.
It was slim pickings in terms of sexiness this episode. As well as slim pickings for Amos specifically. He didn't get a lot to do in this episode, though he was there and he was important. So I went with a line more because it's a contender for a great "that's what she said" than the actual line itself within context. And the line is, "It's generating a lot of heat."
Oh, and so were you when you saw him on screen. She's generating a lot of heat. Godspeed. I was very excited for this episode because we knew that they were going to do something with the big Mormon ship, and it had the title Godspeed.
We already had an idea of what Miller's plan is from the last episode.
Yeah, and it wasn't a surprise what it was.
No. It's not a gunship. So.
They skipped forward some of the parts that I wanted. I wanted them to dress up as Mormons and infiltrate it and take it over, but instead they just stormed on there and said, "Get the fuck off, you stupid cunts!
Back the fuck up!
Back the fuck up, you dopey dunces! Get out of here!" And then that one Mormon is like, "I trusted you."
You said that you wanted to be. You said.
People lie? No. But I was very much looking forward to this, and I'm sad to report I think this is my least favorite episode in season 2 thus far. And it's not because anything is bad in it. In fact, this is an episode where everything is good, but nothing is memorable to me. Nothing is standing out. Nothing is great, and it ends on a big ooh statement that we knew from the last episode would happen. It was one of those, okay, we're going to spend the whole episode eventually getting to something the audience probably determined when it was set up in the previous episode. Oh no, the thing moved because obviously the thing it was building was an ability to maneuver, but...
And also it's just like,
obviously.
Yeah.
It's just like, obviously. But
obviously it either has built an engine or the blue goo is capable of doing that with the amount of energy because it's just an asteroid floating in space.
But this was a supremely well-made episode. Everything went into the next thing very well. I enjoyed all of the storylines, all of the character stuff. When I say it's the weakest, it's just because it's not going to leave much of an impression on me overall. It's already kind of fading from my memory as we're speaking about it now. There's going to be some little bits here and there, maybe some lines, maybe some exchanges, and just the concept of we stole the big Mormon ship and we're going to ram it into another thing will be what remains, but overall, this didn't really click for me as much as I was hoping, and maybe I was building it up a little bit more. What about you, Godspeed? What are your overall thoughts on it?
Like I said, it's serviceable. It's fine. It's another episode where it suffers from being in the middle because it's just like, okay, we've got this part, we're moving towards this part, we've got to do this thing. And you don't get very memorable character moments as a part of that. The middle episodes that we've liked the most have been that mix of those two things of moving the plot forward and really highlighting the individuality of our characters and the uniqueness of their positions. But this didn't really take the time to do those things because it was too busy just doing plot. And it's a very lean episode in that way, but it does make it very forgettable because once you've moved on, you're like, okay, this is where we're up to. And I get why you spent all of that time doing all of those things in this episode. But 2 episodes down the line, I'm going to be like, yeah, they did something in episode 4, I guess.
I want to counter you because I agree and disagree, because I think it didn't really do the plot first. I think this is more character focused, and hence the plot feels so tiresome because you know exactly how it's all going to play out, but they stretch it throughout the whole episode because you've got to hit those beats in the certain part of the script. Like, you have to end this on the cliffhanger of, oh no, the station moved, but that was obvious. I knew that was going to happen. And same with, oh no, the bomb is going to get damaged and all this.
Yeah, I don't think the plot is very interesting or
and I don't
detailed, but
I felt
there's not that much character stuff happening.
I think there is, but I didn't love it as much. So, like, for instance,
like Holden's moral dilemma, that's not very beefy to me.
Well, they didn't beef it out as much as they could have, and I think it's more about Miller. We have a lot about Miller, a lot about him. It's really focusing on Miller, and Holden as well. And I want to just say now, the Holden stuff I found to be on paper the most interesting in the episode, but in practice, I didn't really care all that much because he didn't have as much of a conflict as I was expecting. Not in terms of, he had plenty on the inside, like you could tell it got to him.
Yeah, and the performance of that anguish was well done.
But I was feeling the absence of Miller in that plot because Miller and Holden would have bickered and argued and had differences of opinion on how to handle that situation. But instead, it was Holden standing there and the rest of the crew kind of shrugging and going, oh, you got to do something.
Yeah, it's just like, this episode, in almost every plot and every scene, feels like a foregone conclusion. We know that Holden's going to end up having to kill those doctors that are on the ship. We know that Miller is going to escape the bomb somehow. We know that Eros isn't going to get destroyed.
And we know Chrissy is going to just keep having to play up that she doesn't know but actually knows. So let's start with Chris Jen, or as I've lovingly started to call her, Chrissy, because we're friends.
Well played.
You said you had Avasarala on a leash. She's already connected us to Phoebe Station.
It's wild speculation and zero evidence. I know her. She's posturing.
We're following up on what happened with her previously. Fred Johnson has given her some valuable information, and it is the location of an abandoned stealth ship, the one that they had a good time going over. And so Chris Jen is left with a choice. What do I do with this? Do I keep it to myself? Do I study it? Do I do more research on it? But instead, she decides to play it in a more open and direct way, flagging it so everyone knows it exists. And so it's kicking the hornet's nest and making it visible. So now we have to look into who created this stealth ship, and that only takes a matter of seconds realistically in terms of the scope of this, because they straight away go to Mao, and Mao is under the microscope and everyone's up in arms about this. But I was actually surprised that was the choice she made, and I was surprised in a good way. This was one of those choices, talking about seeing where the story is going to play out. This is one where they didn't make it that she's umming and ahhing about it and having stuff to fill
No.
out the episode, then she does it at the end. This was,
It's just
immediately
bam,
she
bam,
just
bam.
does it and then we proceed forward. You said that this
Mhm.
has a middle episode syndrome, and that story, her one, with that choice, didn't feel like the middle episode
No.
syndrome like the other plots do.
No. And I'm really enjoying her and her spy and the scenes with them together.
They're good. What were your thoughts on this being presented? Her getting the ability to have her people grab onto this stealth ship, because she's
Yeah.
clearly been trying to track one of these down for a while now.
I like the idea of like, we're just going to move it over here so it gets found. It's just like petrol routes still exist.
Oh yeah, that was cute.
Because of course they do. They're just in space now. I enjoyed the mechanics of that quite a bit, and just that being like, no, we're just gonna do this thing, and then we're gonna see what happens next, and hopefully it plays into our plan.
What do you think about her exposing the stealth ship
I
and
like
thus
it.
putting Mao into the spotlight? You like that?
Yeah, and I think it's a very dangerous move, but it was all that she could really do with what Fred gave her.
Mm.
Like, because it needs to be there, it needs to be visible. And it can't be from her, because she's still playing the role.
Oh yes. I very much am excited to see how this all plays out. And Chris Jen herself only gets 2 scenes, is it? Maybe 3 in the story here, and it's more about Mao and Ehrenreich. And I've praised season 2 for this very much, but I really still appreciate that we get to spend time with characters that are ones that circulate the story rather than the ones that are the anchor point. So Chris Jen is the anchor that we are with in the UN/Earth storyline. But now in season 2, we're getting to have scenes of characters that just circle her, and we get to spend time with them and how they feel about things and how they're reacting and their moves that they're playing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's making the universe that we are watching feel more alive and more nuanced rather than, oh, it's just Christian, and then she sees how these people react later. But now we get to have Mao in the show, and I pointed out to you that, obviously this guy's going to be important because they hired that actor who's been in a million things, and
it tipped us off.
But I'm thankful because they're letting him do stuff finally in this show.
Yes.
He's great.
Yes. I can't imagine how frustrating it was for the actor to be like, we're going to have you for like a day or 2 this season, but next season, next season you'll be in it more.
And he is.
You're important. You're just not in the foreground yet.
So
trust us.
Ehrenreich and Christian have Mao in, and they're questioning him and giving him the dress down.
Off the leash.
I want to just go over how they play it ever so politely to begin with. He's so gentlemanly and kind. Yeah, it's all false, and it's a play that they're putting on for Chris Jen. It's a little written script thing that they're playing out for her. Oh yes, our full transparency will be dedicated to it, and our security are onto it, and they're their own individual thing. And
Here's
I own millions
my
of
reasons,
companies,
and it's just like, well, those reasons bullshit. What?
And Ehrenreich trying to be the middleman in the room of, well, we'll have to really put our boot down with this one, Mao.
Somehow thinking that he's the one in control. Like, that's one of Ehrenreich's biggest delusions, right?
Ehrenreich's an idiot who thinks he's clever, and I mean, what a great character to have in the role he is in. Sean Doyle, as always, does a spectacular job playing this role. So many cutaways to Aaron Wright's face as he is analyzing everyone and figuring out what is the correct thing to do here.
Yeah.
So you actually see him calculate in his brain, oh, Christian's doing that. Well, I need to side with her. And I'm weighing up how much that is going to bite me in the ass with Mao, but I have to, so I'm going to.
Yeah.
And it made his level of worminess as a character, again, it makes it more enthralling to
Yeah.
watch because he is willing to make dangerous plays as well, even though he's on the side against Christian. He is making plays where it will also, in this short term or maybe in long term, bite him in the ass with the guy in the room as well.
Yeah.
It was great. And Christian, well, how does she make sure to completely derail the little play that they're putting on?
By calling them out on their bullshit, basically. He's just like, you'll have all of these things. And she's just like, she points out all of the ways that it doesn't make sense that he would have no idea about this. And from that conversation, he realizes she knows that he's working with Aaron, right?
Yes. She specifically wants information about Phoebe's station.
Yeah, which I don't know how much she realizes that she revealed in that conversation.
Oh, I think she knows. I think she's aware that she's kicking the bear there, but she is having to do it. I thought that was...
It's the best play that she can make, so it makes sense that she would do it that way. But it's still just like... You're banking on Aaron Wright's arrogance and Mao not being able to do anything now that he's under the microscope of the UN. But it's just like, you know how shifty this motherfucker is.
Mm-hmm. So she's got to be shifty too.
Yeah, but she gives him ammunition, and that's always dangerous.
She, as the actress who plays this role, has been really good at giving us different personas that Christian puts on. And in that moment when she's asking about the Phoebe station and she's turning to Aaron Wright to get his back up on this and really leaning in on Mao and grilling him, you get to see this performer have this character get to play both sides that we see in the show. So the arrogant, hard-nosed, I'm loving being a powerful bitch mode, and the I'm actually genuinely concerned, I'm trying to stop a war here, I'm doing all of this because I want Earth to be safe. And when she is grilling about Phoebe's station, it's a weaving of those things into something else, and it is just truly magnetic presence on the screen. I just don't want to leave those scenes. And so when we do cut back to our fun, wacky space adventures with Holden and Miller and everyone else, they almost pale in comparison because they aren't going above and beyond what I'm expecting of those.
Yeah.
But her scenes, and it's not even just down to the acting, but it is down to that script stuff. Like these writers have a very keen awareness of how to play these sci-fi political pieces on the board. And I just want to watch more of it. And then we cut over to Mao on the phone with Aaron Wright in his lovely mansion, Mao's lovely mansion. A great visual. And how did you feel about Mao calling out that Christian's clearly aware of everything and she's playing you, you
I was
fucking
just
idiot?
Like, he's smart enough and removed enough to realize that. He was able to see through the bullshit and not be fogged by his own arrogance.
And familiarity, because he's not friends with Christian. He doesn't really know her. Aaron Wright does know her. He's friends with her or colleagues with her. So he's also clouded in that way of judgment of, oh no, I know Christian. I would know if she was playing me. Idiots. I mean, it's so fucking hilarious that Ehrenreich is just a boob. Like, he's a joke of a figure in this world. Like, no one likes Ehrenreich and no one respects him. No one fears him either.
Yeah, boob is a great one for him.
Schmuck. Dumbass. He's a whipping boy, and I think that's so deserving. But the big takeaway out of all of this is not only does Mao know that Christian is aware, and so there will be consequences most likely in relationship to that, but he makes it explicit to Ehrenreich that he should know now, because guess what, Ehrenreich? I'm told you, and if you're not going to listen, fine. I don't need you. Our relationship is severed. You're on your own, bitch. Like, even Mao is cutting off Ehrenreich from any of this, or at least putting him in a place of punishment. Any thoughts on that overall, and how that may kind of unravel as we go? Because Ehrenreich at the beginning is like, oh, he's going to keep being in cahoots with Mao, but we're 4 episodes in, and Mao's just like, you know what? Dismissed.
I'm cutting my losses. And I'm like, good call. Good call, Mao. I support that decision. And Ehrenreich, keep on fucking up, because it's wonderful to watch at this point.
Where does Mao go from here, though?
Yeah, I think we'll get more scenes with him independently.
Yeah, he's now severed relationships with the second most powerful man on Earth.
Yeah, but I think...
Who gives him all of the stuff to the UN.
Yeah, like, he has insights, but I think there'll be, like, that he has other people and other strings that he will pull.
Yeah, what about...
I think he's definitely lost out, but it's definitely, like, it was a potential disaster situation to keep on going with Ehrenreich.
Mao is a businessman, so I look at him from a businessman perspective. So what would he do? I imagine, and they've introduced this character, so it's completely viable. Either he has 2 options ahead of him. Oh, I'll just go straight to the head of the fleet himself.
Yeah.
That really militaristic, angry guy that has replaced our calm, level-headed one, or I'll just go to the top dog. I'll just go to the Secretary General.
Yeah.
Ehrenreich, you're a fuck up. Fine, I'll go to your boss then. Isn't that like the ultimate business move of just fine, I'll go to your boss then.
Yeah.
You let me down. I'm going to talk to the real person in charge. I'm going to talk to the grown up in the room.
I do wonder if in that same way he's going to say, I'm going to talk to the grown up in the room and go to Christian.
Oh, yeah, just lay the cards out on the table and say, okay, we know what we're doing, so what do we do now? That would be great. I would, oh my God, I would love a conversation between those two where they're smiling politely at each other, but really saying, I'm going to destroy you.
Trying to blackmail her with if he finds out about the Fred Johnson communique.
Oh, that would be good too.
When I speculate that wildly, I always wonder what it's like for people listening who have watched it.
They must giggle. They giggle and laugh at the fact that I routinely would call it blue goo, and then once I stopped saying blue goo and I said, no, they don't call it that in the show, I'm going to call it proto-molecule, then literally the show calls it blue goo.
Yes.
Now I have permission never to call it proto-molecule again. And if you out there are one of those people that complain that I call it and Rachel calls it blue goo instead of proto-molecule, guess what? Don't care. It's fun. And Alex said it one time, so I have permission. The show gave me permission to call it blue goo.
I got a nice little resting spot for that nasty blue goo.
We ended on the last episode with Miller has a plan. He has an idea. He's an ideas man. He's a man with a plan, and we are going to see what that is. His solution to the problem of Eros Station is to get the big Mormon ship and ram it into it so it goes into the sun. Yeah. And they can't nuke it, they can't blow it up because of the worry of the bits of it that could fly off and then infect wherever else, like these microscopic bits. This is a contamination. This came from some other place that was launched onto a piece of rock, and look how that worked out. So we can't just blow it up. So the plan is, let's steal the Mormon ship and ram it. But that means all of these other people have to do a bunch of stuff so that can happen. And I will say, I adore that. I will say, I really like how The Expanse utilizes that as a storytelling method, where we have the big thing, but every other character has little jobs to help benefit that, and it really applies to their resources or their abilities. Fred Johnson, he's the guy that, on paper, he's just the guy who sits at the desk back at the station and says, all right, you go out there, boys, and I'll give you some of my men. But instead of doing it just like that, they raise this. Fred, if you do this, if you go onto that Mormon ship and take it off of them, you are going to
burn down everything you've built here. You will destroy yourself and basically the station as well. Because we do see Tycho as an extension of Fred and how he's rebuilt his life since leaving the UN.
Oh yeah, he's going to destroy any credibility and quote-unquote redemption he has, as well as obviously make enemies with other people in the OPA and the Mormons and Earth and Mars and whoever else if this gets found out, which it obviously will. That could have been a detail easily overlooked because, well, let's just get to the big action, fun, shoot this ship through space and get to the spooky Eros station, but as a fan of the character of Fred Johnson, it's always great when they keep adding new layers to him as a person, and that he, like Christian, and he, like not only Christian, but Holden, when you make a decision, you have to think of all of these consequences that will happen from that choice. It's not just a simple, oh, I decided, so it's fine. It's, oh, I've decided, and it means I'm going to have to deal with 14 million other problems from making that choice. We see that with Christian's storyline, and she's a skilled politician, so she's far more comfortable with it. We see Fred here, who's pretty skilled at leadership as well, and he is in complete awareness of how this will fuck him over in the long run, and he weighs it up and he decides, yes, I will do this. And then we have Holden, who's the leader of his ship, and he has to make a really tough call, and it eats him up inside, but he does it, and he knows there'll be consequences from it, but he didn't really think about all of them. And I think that was a great thing as a little thread throughout this episode of just keeping it echoing. And same with Miller. He had to deal with some of his choices and what they led to, and he had an attitude about it. But what do you think of ramming the Mormon ship into Eros Station? Was that something that you expected them to be doing with it overall?
It's a very logical thing because it doesn't have guns. So, and it's a massive ship. So, it, like, when Miller lays it all out, I'm like, yeah, okay, we're doing this.
Miller presents this plan, and that means let's get Holden and the rest.
Holden doesn't want to do it.
Holden has to hear about it, and Holden is such a pissant.
Because they do need the Rossi.
For defense.
Yeah.
It's a gunship. We'll need it in case anything happens.
And we can't leave all of our characters behind at the station.
Yeah, why can't they?
That's not gonna happen. That's not the way that things work.
Yeah. We just have them all there, and a lot of them don't do anything. Amos and Alex
but they're there.
Have reaction shots. They're there too. That's it. You can clap and say they're there as well.
No, Alex has a couple of lines.
He has a couple of lines. Do you think Holden is right to be as indignant as he is when it comes to anything happening in this episode when in relation to Miller? What do you think?
I get it, but I don't care. That's That's where I'm at with it. I get why Miller is the way that he is. I get why Holden is the way that he is, and I get that there's a massive discrepancy between their value systems, and that they're likely to butt heads. But because their ultimate goal is the same of wanting to protect the system from the proto-molecule, that they're going to end up working together. They know things that nobody else in the system does.
I have a hard time separating what is done well and my own disdain. So I don't like Holden that much as a character overall. I've grown warmer towards the character, but when he's having these explosive scenes and being very up in people's faces, telling them, I don't want this, listen to me.
So indignant.
I can't help but, I can't easily separate if this is justified and right in its own way or if it is annoying because I find Holden to be an inherently annoying character. It does clearly have justifications. He has his inbuilt set of values that make it so that he would oppose it this way, but there's still that reaction I have as a viewer where I just throw my hands up in the air going, shut the fuck up, Holden. I don't care because I agreed with Miller from the very beginning.
You are so Team Miller, you don't give a fuck what Holden has to say.
And I think a problem inherently is Holden and Miller haven't properly had time together to duke stuff out in a meaningful way. They just keep having one or two little scenes where they have a pissing contest with one another and then they're told to separate. And I just...
that process worked much better when it was Miller having beef with Amos.
Yeah, but they actually had a proper storyline in that episode about it.
And now they've moved on. A couple of scenes.
Yeah, but it was in the whole episode. This is
this
one scene in the previous episode, a couple here, and I don't know. I get it and I understand it, and to be against Miller as well. Miller is a piece of shit. When he does come onto that Mormon ship, and that Mormon is distraught that they're using their holy place for something else, and he sees that Miller played them, it is genuinely sad because this person took Miller in and gave him something. You know, he talked to him and he treated him like a person and
thought that he was giving somebody salvation, which is they see it as almost egalitarian, I guess, and selfless of spreading the word of God and saving another person's life. And now he's getting that thrown back in his face, and his sacred place, this temple, is being desecrated.
Miller is a character as well that has a death wish and a nihilistic view on life at times, and he has a detachment from things. He is a character that now he no longer has the hat and the gun and the job. He is just going where the flow takes him. He's like a leaf just blowing in the wind, and that is inherently frustrating for someone like Holden, who has a very strict life and what he desires and what he needs and what he stands for. And you said it, Holden and Miller want the same thing. They want to make sure everyone's safe, but they have drastically different worldviews and drastically different approaches to doing that. And that is great dramatic, that's great conflict to have between these guys. And we see throughout this story how Miller's detachment or his distance from things that many other people find to be important to them can be both a blessing and a curse, because his out-of-the-box thinking here of using the sacred ship to save the day is something that is very important to these Mormons, but he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care, so we'll just use it. And then later on, when he's teamed up with the rock hopping kid and how he talks to him, it keeps going on like that. So when we have Miller and Holden butting heads, it does make sense. I just have to stop myself from just reflexively just rolling my eyes at any time Holden shouts stuff.
Did you notice how many times you groaned during Holden's scenes in this episode?
Quite a bit.
So you did notice.
I felt it. It came out of me a lot.
You're insane. And you might be too for listening to this lunatic.
Well, I guess we could just broadcast everything we know and wait for Earth, Mars, and the OPA to all rally together and start singing Kumbaya. Do the right thing. Just hear me out, all right?
He has decided that they need to go on Eros Station and plant a bunch of bombs to set them off so that it will help move stuff around for when they need the what's the name of their ship again? The Nauvoo to hit into it to help it go into the sun. And he's going to team up with all of these belters. And we get a conversation between him and Naomi before he goes off. He gets his gun back from Johnson. But what did you think about the back and forth between Naomi and Miller?
I really liked the bit of sort of belter language that's thrown in that conversation as well, and that we don't get subtitles for it. Like, that that's sort of at least a dialect of the belt, and that they're using that, and it's interesting to see that connection that they share that Naomi doesn't talk about as much. Like, that hasn't been a part of her journey of her journey is not about one of self-acceptance the way that Miller has been on.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see them connecting as people and as belters, as well as that reaffirming how they are way more similar in what they're willing to do and their perspective and their experiences than Naomi and Holden.
Yes, that's what I really got out of it. She even, in a roundabout way, says, I'm not going to do the wag my finger and lecture you. I'm going to actually talk to you about what's happening here, and I'm on your side here. I see why it's going to be this way. Be careful out there, okay? And they give each other their little belter sign language moves or whatever, their gestures. And so when later in the episode, Miller is staring down death and we see Naomi shed a tear over it, it actually matters because the exchanges that those two characters have had has been pretty good, but there's been something in common with one another. They do have their culture that binds them together, and they look at the world in a very specific lens that the others don't. We've got Alex, who's the Martian pilot. We've got Amos, who's the emotionally detached Earth guy. We've got Holden, who's idealistic, Mr. I'm going to save the day and we're going to do it the good way by the books, Earthman. We can go on. And obviously we had Havelock for Miller, but who I'm sure Havelock's going to come back, guys. People have said, Ryan, you got to stop mentioning Havelock not being in season 2. You should be happy that he's not in season 2. You shouldn't complain that he hasn't shown up again. Guess what? I'm going to keep complaining. All right? I'm going to complain because it means with each passing episode, Havelock wasted my time even more in season 1. But she did something that made me take a moment to step back and go, is this a good thing or a bad thing? She laid out that I'm not going to do what I usually do, which is be the moral center in the room and have my hands on my hips and say morally right things. And what do you think about that? Naomi has functioned very much in a lot of stories as the person who says things that is just
the
like
moral compass.
The moral compass, and tell me if I'm getting out of line here, because I know you have strong opinions on female characters like this, but I think like sometimes like the female character is inherently imbued as being like the straight person in the room, the naturally smart person in the room, and the motherly one. And we must listen to them because they've got a heart and they've got in touch with their emotions, and so we must because, well, it makes me think about in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They started out the show with Sweet Dee being the fairly normal one, and she would react as the straight person, and then they realized that that's inherently boring, and so they also made her crazy as well. And I don't know how to feel about that with Naomi. I do think a lot of the time her role is to stand there with her hands on her hips telling the boys to get their heads on straight. How do you feel?
Yeah, like that's that was a massive thing about her relationship with Amos, right? Like, put your dog back on a leash sort of conversation that they've had around that. And I like that they're moving away from that and sort of, like, that's still a part of her and a part of her role within the show. But they aren't just doing it in the same way. Like, the fact that Naomi clearly wants to be able to save Miller and is upset that she can't. And we see the silent tear. That all makes sense for her to be at that point emotionally and mentally, as well as the fact that with her personality, she doesn't outcry. She doesn't go, but we have to go out there. She doesn't put anybody at risk. She just is clearly feeling her feelings and being quiet about it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but Miller also flags up, well, you were the one who was outspoken about what to do with the blue goo, and so you've got the blue goo still hiding out in space, and now
that's on you.
That's on you. You have to make your choice. I guess I'm hoping that in the future we get to see Naomi be a bit more of a shitty person, like the other characters are afforded way more than she ever is.
Get the dirt on her.
Yeah, I want to see her get some dirt and mud thrown on her as a character. And the most we've gotten thus far in this season is her vehemently disagreeing with Holden about things, and I don't find that enough. And I'm going to keep a tab on that, and we'll see how it plays out. So Miller follows through. He's now teamed up with some belters, and hey, it's our friends. It's our friends again. It's not only the rock hopping kid what's his name again? It's like
Diego?
Diego. He says it with an accent, so it's like Diogo, but it's not just him. Did you see him?
You screamed out, "He's back!"
Who's back?
Come on, you take it. You take it.
It's that big, dumb, goofy, muscly guy with the beard who keeps being in Miller's team of dumbass idiots. I love that guy. He was there in that I just like that this is a recurring... this is a recurring OPA guy that they have. The actor, I don't know who the actor is, but he has the perfect face. He's very expressive. He just the looks he gives are priceless. He gets big laughs out of me. That guy. He just has such a this guy's been hit in the head a few too many times expression, like a punch drunk look to him a lot, and I light up every time this dumb boy is on the screen. He's my MVP of the show at the moment. I love this guy.
You really miss the Gaunt Belter.
I miss the Gaunt Belter.
This dude is giving you some joy.
Beefcake OPA man is giving me a lot of joy, but talk to us about what Miller is having to get up to. So he's teamed up with these OPA guys. Like I said, they're going to have to plant some bombs on Eros, but walk us through a bit about how this all plays out.
They get interfered with by another one of the plots that's happening, and the bomb goes wrong. Oh no! And somebody needs to stay behind and push a button.
Yes.
It's all very boilerplate kind of stuff. They they're having this ongoing conversation about like the spacewalks, and Miller's never been on one, and then he doesn't like one, and then he fucks up. He drops his shit.
Oh, he couldn't slow down, so he just smacked into the wall.
Yeah, and
That
he
was
lost
fun.
his thing. And then the youngster helps him out, and he's just keeps on being like, "You say that it's better than sex," which I'm like, it's not. It can't be. It means that you haven't had sex. So thus he keeps on telling him to go get laid.
Miller's accepted he's a belter now.
Yep. He discovers a man in an airlock.
Oh yeah, they open
It's
up one of
all
the airlocks,
blue-gooed up.
and there's this guy from a ship that is relevant to Holden's plot.
Yep.
I enjoyed the back and forth conversations with Miller and Diego. I just really liked it, and those actors, they have a spark between
They
them.
do. They have a really good chemistry, and I'm glad that they brought that back and making callback jokes to like
The water thieving days.
because they're like, well, what are you gonna do when you're done here? It's like, oh, go back.
I'm going to go back and take your gig. No one's stealing water like you did, so I'm going to hustle in on that. And Miller keeps giving this kid advice. He's had an almost come to Jesus awakening recently, Miller, where he has now seen the world in a very different way, and he has a strong opinion on the OPA now. Thanks to his adventures in season 1, he has a strong opinion on them. When he started, he didn't really have much of an opinion. He didn't care for them, but he didn't. They
They're
exist.
fucking over people like everybody else in the system. So who gives a fuck?
But now he knows, they're inherently corrupt and dangerous, like any other big dog in this system. So what makes them any better? And he tries to give this kid advice, and there was that exchange. I can't remember it exactly, but the exchange where the kid is saying, "I shouldn't have to take advice from you," and Miller agrees. He's like, "Yeah, you really shouldn't have to be, should you? Like, you should not be in a situation right now where I'm giving you advice. That's how bad things are right now."
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was fun.
But they're planting the bombs, and as soon as they say how many bombs they have to plant, and they're counting down, like, oh, we got this many left. Oh, yes, the last bomb, or the second last bomb is going to
Something's gonna go wrong.
Something's going to go wrong, and some debris hits these guys and makes it so the bomb has to be touched, and so someone has to stay behind with the bomb, and Miller has a death wish. And Julie keeps appearing in this episode too, by the way. Julie keeps showing up in his brain. And what do you think about Miller's death wish side and how it's been culminating throughout the series?
Like, I get it, but I also don't care in a way, because he still feels like he's safe. Like, they're not gonna get rid of him just yet. He feels safe still.
Go. Get back to the ship. Better go before I change my mind and hand this thing back to you.
We keep coming back to this, but I think it's very prevalent here with the bomb story, but with all of them, really, which is it does things that are very well known in storytelling, not just sci-fi.
It hits familiar beats.
It hits familiar beats. You could say they hit familiar tropes, archetypes. You could even argue that some of the things that they are doing, you would look at and say it's trite. The bomb and the finger thing is one of the most hackneyed things you've ever seen in stories. This goes all the way back to the 1940s. That's the type of deal this is. And I'm not saying that's an inherently negative thing to the Expanse, but I do want to...
but it's a thing to acknowledge. And I feel like that is one of the things that contributes to my feelings on... It feels like a lot of episodes at this point of feeling like I can see what's going to happen. And I feel the beats coming because it is very familiar stuff. It's playing out uniquely, and I'm interested to see what happens now. But it's just like, I feel like I've said this a number of times now, of like walking into an episode and knowing where all of the beats are gonna end. And then we end up there. And the way that we get there is just ABC. 1, 2, 3. I.
Aye, aye, Captain. I think about the X-Files. The X-Files, when it began, was this fresh, exciting, daring series. But when you actually break it down, they were just doing things that TV had done many times over. They were just looking at the Twilight Zone, or they were looking at Night Stalker and so many other things, and or just ripping straight from the headlines. But they presented it in a very unique and daring and striking way.
Packaging goes a long way to sell a product.
Packaging it really well and having really good characters and just capturing the imagination of the viewer. But you still just had a story where this week they verse a person who can turn into a wolf man. But as the X-Files went along, you see it just kind of degraded over time because that trick wore off. And there's only so many ways you can do that over and over and over again. And then eventually it became super soldiers, which is the bane of my existence as a storyline in any science fiction or fantasy thing, is super soldiers. And it's because of the X-Files, a series that I love and hate. And it's because of that is I both love and hate that the X-Files, like the Expanse, could take these cliches, these tropes, these things that we've seen a million times over and wrap it up and present it and package it in a way that was exciting. But over time, I've seen that package several times over. I know what's inside this box. You want to talk about some of Holden's moral high groundness and the humanitarians?
Holden's a whiny bitch and some doctors are some fuckwits.
What? Sorry. I've just tuned into the podcast. It's playing live on the radio, and I need some further context, which is for Kings.
Holden is a whiny bitch.
That checks. That lines up with what I've seen.
Some humanitarians
that
are doctors are some fuckwits.
Okay, so let's get into that story. Holden, as much as I bitch about him as a character, I do find him fascinating as a person that is just such a Boy Scout.
Yeah, he's important to the show.
Yeah, he's important to the show, yes, but I find him interesting and fascinating in a way where it's like, how are they going to make him such a Boy Scout this week?
Yes, he provides a very unique perspective within the show. And it's just like, the world spared you so much, Holden.
It is that realization that you have of, what would it be like if the Goody Two-Shoes, Andy Griffith type character was in a gritty war show? We like that about actually Space Above and Beyond, a series that as we keep watching more of The Expanse, the Space Above and Beyond just keeps coming to the top of my mind because there's lots of things that are in common with them.
Yeah.
And Nathan West in that show was the golly gee, I'm a morally upright, but he was selfish.
And he gets dirty.
Oh yeah, he got fucked up. But we discover that the Rossi is tracking along some stuff in this area because all of the security stuff has gone away from Eros Station. It's vulnerable for this window of time. And so the Rossi's making sure it is actually free of people. And, they've discovered a ship hiding over there. And it is a ship not known to them. It's completely foreign. Is this a Martian ship? Is this Earth? Is this pirates?
I assume it's actually Mao.
Yeah, or Mao. They keep propositioning as pirates, and can we just visit pirates for a second?
Like,
can we just visit that? They said
They
that there are pirates
realize-
in this universe in the first episode, and we've never seen
we've
them.
never actually seen pirates, but a bunch of plots rely on the fact that pirates exist.
Are we going to meet them? Or is this
Oh.
going to be a thing that they keep telling us so that we will momentarily think, oh, it won't be it won't be
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like eventually we will.
We've got to have a pirate crew member, yeah?
Yeah.
The-
Like if we don't see them, I feel like see them like a full ship. I think we're gonna see some pirate figures at some point.
Of course. But there's this ship, and it's full of, as you said, humanitarians, which has been set up in the show. We keep hearing about how there are
Yeah.
humanitarians and doctors trying to come to Eros Station to see what's happening and help people and save people, and it is here. And so with this, what does it offer up to Holden's side of the story?
A moral dilemma because he wants to let them go. He wants to be able to spare them, for them to go off before the Mormon ship arrives and blasts Eros into the sun.
Yes. And these guys could escape and tell people about what's happening because they have the ability to record stuff.
Yep, but they originally made Holden and the crew of the Rossi believe that they hadn't gotten onto the station. Thus, there was no risk of infection and no information that could be leaked.
True.
Then Miller finds the body, realizes that they may have had contact and that they do have information. And then they try and flee and broadcast to the world,
They also,
much like what Holden did with the camp.
because they don't believe the Rossi because they are Martian.
Yeah,
They think that these are Martian
and
soldiers
Holden played
playing.
into that initially.
Yes, and then it bit him in the ass, and he tried to reverse it and say, "I'm Jim Holden. Listen to me. Shouldn't that mean something?" And this guy momentarily looks at him, and the humanitarian was in the first episode of season 2. He was on the TV, so I recognized him because he had that accent. And I said, "We've seen him before," but he gave this look of, "Oh, you're Jim Holden," and then decided, "No, that doesn't matter. I'm going to go off and broadcast this because it's the right thing to do." And what happened, Rachel?
They got blown up.
They got blown up by Holden. Did you expect that?
Yes.
I actually was surprised. I thought Holden was going to be a bleeding heart and let them do it because the humanitarian was trying to do what Holden did in season 1.
But he regrets that because he, even though he knows that sending out that message saved his ass, it was ultimately incorrect information and did damage to the very, very frail peace between Earth and Mars.
Yeah, it lines up, but I was surprised because Holden is a character that I find to be a bit toothless, but he has it in him. He does have the ability to make these dark calls, and this makes me want to follow him more. So it's a better choice on the writers to make him have this dilemma and then actually choose the violent option. And there's fallout from it in literal ways as well as ones that we will most likely see in the show. The fallout of the debris fucks up the stuff on Eros Station. Holden is a character where we treat him as a punching bag. Yeah, you would say that's fair.
Yep.
And the show does as well, because almost every choice he makes is framed as if it was the wrong choice to make.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he doesn't feel good when he makes choices, ever. We haven't got that moment properly where Holden is sitting in the captain's chair and he's like he's not like Captain Pike, where he's smooth and in charge and everyone respects him and he's going to make the wise call and he's got a smirk on his face and yeah, I'm a hot shot. No, every time he even is in eyeline of that, the show finds a way to make sure that he's a dipshit who gets punished.
I'm trying to save your life. I swear to you, we want the same thing. Please, don't make me kill you.
If we truly want the same things, then you know what you need to do.
Blue goo.
On the move!
Blue goo on the move. The least shocking surprise that the show has done is, hey, the blue goo's building something. What's it building? Oh, I don't know. Let's ram it into the sun. Oh no, we missed because it moved. What do you mean it moved? And then shot of Eros Station flying away.
Yeah.
With Miller on it. Miller's stuck on it.
Yeah.
With a bomb. That's fun.
With a bomb that he can't let go of. And a limited air supply.
Oh, yeah, that's correct. Because he got his suit punctured and he lost a lot of air.
Yep. As well
yeah.
as, like, just having a tank of air. It's like he can't really go inside the station.
Look what happened to the last guy.
Yeah, because he will get attacked by the proto-molecule.
Yeah.
So he's in a very vicarious situation on the outside of Eros Station.
I have not anything to say. I don't have anything to say about the blue goo being on the move. There's nothing more other than to go into predictions of things. But before we go there, what would you rate Godspeed on a scale of yum being bad and yum yum being good? Now, to help you weigh in on this, they did use Godspeed as a piece of dialogue in a badass moment in the episode. They actually did title drop it in a way that was badass. So I just wanted to flag that because that could matter to the rating system.
Yeah. It could, but it doesn't tip the scales for me. This is a fine episode, but I don't give a shit about it. So it's a yum from me.
Naomi brought up that they're going to have a bunch of pissed off Mormons, and I fist pumped when she said that because the idea of that is hilarious to me, that there's going to be a bunch of pissed off Mormons, and that almost makes it a yum yum. But overall, I like this episode. I don't love it. It's not one I'm going to be thinking about too much. This is better than season 1. When we had episodes like this in season 1, they weren't as good as this. But I'm just going to give this a yum. There was more problems in the previous episode in the structure and the narrative, but I liked it more. That's a thing to really let people in on. When we do the rating stuff, some people ask, like, why would you do this? Why do you feel that way? And at the end of it all, it is about how much I liked it or didn't like it. And the last episode, there's things that are bigger problems that we pointed at and had more vehement feelings on, but I also liked it more. I liked it. I had a good time with it. Well, this one I had a passive time. I was watching it and it did its job very well. Now, the next episode of The Expanse that we will be watching and discussing, we have not seen it. We don't know anything about it. This is us going through it for the first time. So I'm going to read out the title, and from there we'll determine what could be happening next episode or some predictions for what is going to go on in this series from what we got today. The next one is called Home. Just Home. Now, what do you think is going to be going on in Home, or if you have any predictions overall?
I wonder if we're going to get a little bit of Ceres again.
We haven't seen it.
No, but Miller was hearkening back to it. And I do wonder if that is going to maybe be a part of it. That's my out of left field guess.
God, no, it means Havelock will be back.
You wanted Havelock back.
You got him, bitch, and now he's got an eye patch. He's a robot.
Mm-hmm.
He's like Raiden from the Metal Gear games. He's a cyborg ninja with a motorcycle.
Yes.
That makes him cool now, right, Ryan? No, it doesn't. Raiden still sucks.
Yes. That's my out of left field. I think there'll be some fallout further about the humanitarians that got killed. And I think Christian is going to get pulled into that, maybe.
So, my prediction is more about the next episode itself, the title, Home. Eros is flying away, so it would be flying to Earth, is my pick. It's going to fly to Earth, and I think it will alert everyone, and now it will make a plot about that. So, Christian is going to be momentarily paused on her schemes because now this is happening, so it may have to even accelerate what she has to do. Who knows? Mao will maybe have to be pressured and panicked to do stuff. But my hope, this is a hope, is the next episode will be the Martian Marines stumble across this because they have Eros fly near them, and now they're going to be intersecting with our characters at the Rossi, and there's going to be conflict there because here's the Rossi taken over Martian ship, and so there's going to be bad blood, but both sides...
There was no Gunny in this episode.
There was no Gunny in this episode. We made the prediction because Gunny only appears in every odd-numbered one, but I think it would be marvelous to have these characters converge and meet up, not at the end of the season, like last time, but unknown. But that's my pick for what will be happening next time. Everyone, thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Make sure to give Home a watch in the meantime, and you can have a giggle and laugh at us for all of the wrong predictions here. Maybe the next episode is actually we get to hang out with everyone's favorite character, the Mormon guy from last season, and he comes and he's like, I'm here, I arrived, where's Nauvoo? Oh no, it's not here. And then he has an existential crisis about it. But we can be found on all of your social medias under yumyumpod or yumyumpodcast. You can contact us over at
yumyumpod@gmail.com.
We release these episodes for our patrons first. If you're a patron, you're hearing it. You know how special you are. Thank you so much for your support. And I thank everyone for tuning in and listening to us discuss The Expanse. It's been really fun, and people have been really excited and happy and having some laughs at us about stuff when it comes to what we're doing here. If you want to support the show and you want to hear some episodes early, then come over to our Patreon, Yum Yum Podcast on Patreon. We have a group Discord that you get to be a part of, and you can communicate and chat about a whole multitude of things, and we just have a lot of bonus content over on that site. So come on over to the Patreon, and that's it. That's all we've got for you. Thank you all so much for being here. Rachel, I thank you for being in the room with me as I mourn the Gaunt Belter who did not appear in this episode, and I was upset.
Yeah.
I cried. You
tried to fill the void
with Beefcake OPA guy, but he just doesn't have the accent of the Gaunt Belter. He doesn't say Dustus, and that's the real tragedy of The Expanse. It doesn't have enough Gaunt people who are belters. Who, by the way, that actor, I've said it before, but he did not look gaunt. He looked pretty... Like, that guy who played the Gaunt Belter, he did not look gaunt. That's such a weird descriptor term. I'm more gaunt than that guy. That guy looked like an Irish youth who could beat you up at a pub. But, oh, he's a Gaunt Belter. Whatever. Love him still, nonetheless.
See you then. Well, voila.